Hi, my name is Adonis, and today I just like to talk about my GLS summative. I'm on my third section, summative reflection on skills, knowledge, and attitudes. So I chose knowledge for this section. So the first question being asked was, describe a topic that was discussed or studied in GLS that was also covered in another class this semester. So this semester, a topic that was discussed in GLS class was about bullying. My GLS teacher, Miss Steele, she taught us a lot about bullying, what it is, what it does, how it affects people, what are the side effects, what are the positive effects, what are the negative effects, and this was also covered in my science class this semester. Science teacher, Mr. Nestor, he one day he just wanted to talk about bullying and the same thing, what it does, how it affects our mind, and what are the side effects, stuff like that. So basically, it was just bullying. Bullying is today is like a big deal in our lives. Many kids and teenagers are bullied basically every day, middle school, high school, so on. It affects the mind like really greatly. It's a very negative effect because students they get bullied, they get asked for lunch money, they get asked for their work, they get tortured. It's not a good thing, and people and students, so they just can't study properly. They fail, and they get pressured, they get peer pressured, which is in my opinion considered bullying, because if the person does not want to do it, why force him? In my case, that's bullying. And this topic was covered by uh by a presentation. It was a PowerPoint presentation in Ms. Steele's class, and the same PowerPoint presentation in my science my science class by Mr. Nestor. So Mr. Nestor taught it pretty good too. He explained how bullying was like how bullying affected his life in high school when he was a teenager, and Ms. Steele taught us about the world, how the world is affected by bullying, what parents think, stuff. So, learning this topic in different settings really enhanced my understanding about bullying, because on one side it was Miss Steele teaching me about bullying, and then on the other side was Mr. Nestor, my science teacher, teaching me about bullying. So I really got two perspectives from about bullying. It really helped me understand, because first in Miss Steele's class, I didn't really understand what bullying really was. How it affected lives. I mean, I always thought that it was just lunch money and getting tossed around and all that stuff. But when I heard Mr. Nestor talking about bullying, it really like changed my perspective. I always thought that once again it was about taking your lunch money, but then when Mr. Nestor told me about his life and how bullying affected his life in high school, it really changed me, because in his life, I mean not his life, but in his high school, he mentioned that a lot of kids they would be forced to do stuff that they did not want to do. They would get asked for their homework, which I believe is pretty stupid. I mean, you're not gonna learn anything if you just copy. And that learning things from both sides really changed my perspective on bullying. If I learned it from Miss Steele, I wouldn't really have gotten that much knowledge on bullying. But then when I learned it from Mr. Nestor, I got a lot more knowledge, and that, in my opinion, is very good. And I'm glad to have two teachers that taught me about bullying this semester. So if I were to teach this topic, I wouldn't do it by teaching it by a PowerPoint. I'd actually teach it like just verbally, because in my opinion, when we are teaching it by video, right? But when we are teaching it by just the PowerPoint, it's not really that effective. People text on their phones, do the other homework. They won't really care, right? It's just reading it. But when we speak about it, that's when students get to pay attention. Because in both classes, I wasn't really paying attention. But when Mr. Nestor and Mrs. Steele they started talking about it, not just telling us to read it, then I started paying attention about bullying and stuff. And then same thing for me. Like if I was a teacher, I'd teach about it verbally, because that's the way students really understand things. no, not just by reading something. It would tell them about bullying even more effectively. It would teach them a lot more, and they would understand more. So I would I would just do that. Yeah. And thank you. That's it for today.